Hi, welcome to this lecture. Our main aim now is to understand how can we make 3D scatter plot. So in order to do this, I've went ahead and I've installed this package. So you need to install this package so that we can be able to use the functionality of this package. Then after that, remember we have to attach this package, which is scatterplot 3D. The dataset that you want to use is this trees dataset. So let us look at this dataset. You see, so this dataset has diameter, height, and volume for black cherry trees. So let us quickly go over the description. So the columns or the variables that we have. So we have girth, which is numeric, which represents the tree diameter in inches. Then we have height, which is also numeric. So this is the height in feet. Then it's volume, which is also numeric. So this is the volume of timber in cubic feet. Our main aim now is to understand how can we create a 3D scatter plot. Now, let us see an example of a basic 3D scatter plot. So the function that we're going to use is scatterplot 3D. Okay, and then we pass in trees dataset. And if you run this, what you see here is that we have managed to create a basic 3D scatter plot. Now we are going to try and see how can we change certain features in the scatter plots. For example, let us start with the angle. So the angle of point view. So if we come in here and then we say, for example, 55, so you can see that the point view changes when we change this angle argument. Now, what about the axis? So what I want you to note in this case is that we have passed in a data frame. And if you try to see the head of this data frame, so trees. So if you can see the head of this data frame, you can see that the way we are going to create this basic 3D scatter plot. So we come in here, this girth is here on the x-axis, then its height on the y-axis, then its volume on the z-axis. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to create the labels. So if we come in here in this function and we come and say the main, so we have managed to create a 3D scatter. Let me move this. So this is 3D scatter plots. And then we can also add the X labels. So the X labels represent girth. Okay, but now this girth is what is written as girth in inches. So let's say this here is girth in inches. Okay, then for the Y labels we have height in feet. So let's run this. And now the last one is the Z label. And then in the Z label we have a volume in, so is in cubic feet. Cubic feet. And that is how you can be able to provide labels for your x-axis, your y-axis, and your z-axis. We can also come in here and change the points as well as the color. So if we come in here, remember we had this, which is PCH, and say, for example, we give this 16, and then let us say the color, and let us say blue. Okay, so we've managed to add the color as well as change the type of these points. We can also have an additional argument, which is type, and that argument, let us see this argument. So if you specify type, it becomes H. So what this argument does is that we are going to be able to see clearly the x, y location of these points in this 3D scatter plot. So let's run this. So you can observe that it has managed to add the lines so that we can see clearly the x and y location of all these points. Now that we have managed to add these lines, what we can also do is we can change the type of these lines. In order to change this line type, we come in here and say line type.hplot. Say for example we want to test lines. As you can see, we've managed to change the line type in this 3D scatter plot.